Hello, everyone. I hope this message finds all of you well and safe. So here we are on Erev Sukkos, the period of time that is referred in our davening as Zman Simchoseinu, the time of our joy and happiness. And although all of the Yom Tovim are a time of Simcha, as the Torah tells us, V'yisa Ach Sameach refers to all of the Yom Tovim. Pesach, we have to be besimcha, it's a yontif. And Shavuos, it's also a yontif. This is a holiday. But when it comes to Sukkot, it's referred to, it's identified as Zman Simchoseinu. Pesach is Zman Cheruseinu, the time of our freedom. And Shavuos is Zman Matan Toraseinu, it's the time of the giving of the Torah. But when it comes to Sukkot, Sukkot is identified with Zman Simchoseinu. It has to do with Simcha because of the fact that it has various mitzvos. It's a time of harvest when everyone in an agrarian society, as it was in Israel, would have all of bumper crop, hopefully, and there would be a tremendous simcha, satisfaction, and positive feelings. Then this was the time, especially after Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur, that we achieved complete kapara with all of our davening and all of our mitzvos and all of our devotion and all of our tshuva. So then it comes now to Sukkos, and that we take all of that simcha spiritually and even physically, and we channel it to Hashem Yisbarach. And if we look at the mitzvos in particular, then we will see that there is these important ideas of simcha, the principle of simcha, of that especially Sukkot conveys, that sends the message and defines for us where we can find simcha in our lives, and especially in these days when we are confronted with so much uncertainty, when we just don't know what will be. I mean, who would have believed we would have been in the situation we are? But we are. And if there's ever a time where we really need an injection of simcha, of happiness, of joy, then it's this time. And we have the mitzvahs of Sukkot, the mitzvah of 7 days to eat in a sukkah. We leave our permanent dwelling and we go and we sojourn, we eat, we drink, we even, for some, we even sleep in our sukkah. It should be our dwelling. And we leave the permanent dwelling that we have that protects us from all of the elements, from the rain and the storm, and in lower regions, the heat, and in higher regions, the cold, and all of these things, even snow, the rain. And we leave that house and we go into the sukkah, in which we are exposed to all of what the world could be around us in terms of the weather, wind, and the rain. And we eat in the sukkah, and somehow we make it through. And that sends a message to us. And the message is that we might think things are permanent in our lives. We might think that we are secure, but the truth is this life is so temporal. This life is so fleeting. As we said in the Machzor on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, it's kechalom ya'uf. It's like a fleeting dream. And it just, you hear, and before you know it, time just passes. And it's for us to recognize that this world is just a temporal place, and that this world is a place of that's temporary because it's a hallway to the permanent dwelling that we want to achieve with the way we live our life in this world. And how do we do that? In that temporal dwelling, we go into the sukkah of Hashem. We're surrounded by the walls, and most of all, the schach, that sail kale, that shade of the Almighty, and that His protection, no matter if it's fearful, uncertain around us, but His protection is always there, and His protection is connected to our fulfilling the mitzvahs, to going out in the sukkah, and being in God's shade, in that tzeil kale, and to do the mitzvah not just simply because we have to, which is of course what we have to do, but to do it with simcha, to do it with joy, with that certainty of knowing that if we are doing and fulfilling the good things that God asks us to do, then we do what Hashem wants, and Hashem in turn protects us and takes care of us and brings us after the rain and after the difficult winds and all of the difficult times into that pleasant moments of a sukkah that we could enjoy. Teshu Kein Taduru, that's when the mitzvah really occurs, and that's what we hope for, and that's what we look for. I think that's an important message for Sukkot. And it also represents, it conveys the Zman Simchoseinu in regard to the lulav and esrog, the four species we take of the cistern and the palm branch and the hadassim and the aravos. And we take all of that, and we are told they all represent a different part of a person. The heart is the esrog, that emotion, that feeling, that with a pleasant smell, the beautiful, to understand that that's the essence of what's really important. And the lulav, which is beautiful and strong and straight, and that represents a man's and a woman's backbone of what they believe in and devotion to Hashem, and that those eyes of the hadassim and the lips, which are the aravos, so those are the same shape, and that represents that what a person sees and perceives in the world, of how a person looks upon their own life, what goes on, is always, you see that hand of Hashem. And that's why there are three hadassim. A person has two eyes, he has one heart, it's one esrog, and he has one lulav, one backbone. And yet, when it comes and the aravos is two lips, but when it comes to hadassim, those eyes, there's three. And why is there three? It should really be two. And yet there are three. Because when it comes to what a Jew sees, what a good person who believes in Hashem sees, they're able not just to see on the surface with the two eyes, but that mind's eye that allows a person to see the miracle of Hashem, to see God's appreciation and love in so many parts of our life, of Shavisi Hashem, to see God, Lenegdi Somid, always before you, to see the miracle of life, and even the most difficult times, always to know, Hine lo yonum v'lo yishon shomer Yisrael, and that's what the lulav and esrog and the hadassim and aravos, you take all of who you are and bring it together and make a bracha to Hashem, to say Hodu LaHashem Kitov, Kili Olam Chazdov, to praise Hashem. And a Jew is called Yehudi or Yehudis after that Hodu LaHashem, having appreciation, that ability to see and perceive Hashem in all of our life. And it also represents the unity of all types of Jews, and all types of Jews, whether they're like the esrog, which represent the learned Jew who is refined with the doing of mitzvos, or the palm branch, the lulav, which also represents the learned but without smell, without the refinement of implementation of all of what he's learned, and the hadassim of a person of refinement, but lack of learning, with a smell but without the taste. And aravos represents the Jew who unfortunately is disassociated, who's distant from understanding, from perceiving, from appreciating what a Shabbos is, what a Yontif is, what mitzvahs are, of who they are as being children of Hashem. And that we take all these different types of Jews and we bring them together, and a bracha is recited. And that is a source of great protection of the Nanuyim. And that is where Zman Simchaseinu is found. It's within yourself, the strength that you find within yourself, being able to have a clear perception and always working on seeing that third eye of Hashem Yisbarach, and to recognize that one is always under the protection of Hashem. Those are the sources of simcha that we all have. And those are the sources of simcha that we look to in the coming days, coming weeks and years. And that Amir Hashem, the better that we celebrate this great gift of a Sukkot together, although apart, but together, of recognizing that the Zman Simchaseinu should usher in a time of Yemei Simcha, not just on Sukkot, but throughout the year, to see the joy of life in all of what happens, even if one is surrounded with the storms and winds and difficult situations surrounding us, to be and know that I am always in the shadow of Hashem, protecting me, and I will be there to be connected always to Hashem. And that is a source of great simcha in this world, and that is a great schus that in Yirtz Hashem, God willing, will bring the world to that time that the world will truly know simcha, because evil and heartache and hardship will finally be done away with, and that the world will be able to have that place of true simcha, of Yeshua and Nechama, with the coming of Mashiach in our time soon. I wish everyone a good Shabbos, and of course a good Yontif, and I wish everyone a Chag Sameach.